Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Thursday, the 23rd of December 2021, and we're producing our regular morning update, providing prices, news, and economic data. Today we see a plethora of economic data coming out of the United States, and if there are going to be any price movements this side of Christmas, today is likely to be that day. So let's take a look. Welcome to Illuminati Silver. It's Thursday, the 23rd of December 2021 at 10:55 in the morning. The weather today is wintry. Yes, indeed. Whereas yesterday it was autumnal, today it is wintry. What a difference a day makes. It's pouring with rain, the wind is blowing, and it's cold outside, not quite ready for snow. But we are most certainly now in the winter. However, there are signs of spring as far as the news is concerned. Yes, this is a very seasonal video today. Remember yesterday we highlighted that Omicron was nothing but bad news. Well, today there are some slight signs that it's not all bad news. And we'll have a look at why that is. The main headline, though, is Omicron brings new risks to unvaccinated pregnant women. But then we see Astra COVID booster increases antibodies against Omicron. And stocks, US futures rise on Omicron optimism. Yes, indeed, stocks rose with US futures as investor optimism grew that the global recovery can weather the Omicron flare-up. Travel and leisure and banking shares boosted European shares amid thin trading ahead of Christmas, and the US contracts ticked up with the S&P 500 index within reach of a record high. Tesla Inc. rose in pre-market trading as Elon Musk sold more stock. Isn't that ironic? Gains in Japan boosted Asian stocks. Investors are wagering the latest COVID-19 variant won't derail global growth, even as officials remain cautious about its spread. A trio of studies signal Omicron may be less likely to land patients in hospital than Delta, while antiviral treatments and booster jabs are ramping up. That's helping markets that have been whipsawed by virus worries, tighter policy and a foggy outlook for US fiscal stimulus. However, what we do need to make note of is Russia builds up forces near Ukraine ahead of US talks. Is this just a little bit of brinkmanship? Russia is continuing to build up forces close to Ukraine, even as it's preparing for security talks with the US, keeping up pressure with a deployment that could turn into a rapid invasion or a long-term threat. Looking at Reuters, 2 vaccine manufacturers said their shots offered protection against Omicron, as UK data suggested it may cause proportionately fewer hospitalizations than the Delta coronavirus variant, supporting conclusions reached in South Africa. Isn't it remarkable how news can change literally one day to the next? BBC Business News. Bit of bad news for us in the UK. Energy bills set to rise by 50%. Industry warns. We already have some of the highest energy prices in the Western world. This is not going to go down particularly well. November car production at its lowest level since 1984. Group calls the figures incredibly worrying as COVID continues to hit supply chains. In the United States, Biden hails supply chain win, but problems persist. The US president says shelves are 90% full, but analysts warn of more issues ahead. Let's have a look at what's happening to the US dollar. Now we have to bear in mind, in these last few days before Christmas, markets are going to be operating with relatively thin trade, simply because so many are on holiday and nobody really wants to create new positions ahead of Christmas. So we have the dollar index currently at 96.07, still just about holding above the 96 level. Energy prices basically unchanged today, with WTI crude at 72.75 and Brent crude at 75.36. Equity markets in the US yesterday were in positive territory, broadly up 1%. Asia Pacific overnight again positive territory between 0.5% and 1%, and UK and Europe also up but around 0.5%. Now today we have a tranche of economic data being announced. Yesterday though, I think it's worth mentioning, the Consumer Confidence Index for December was actually higher than anticipated at 115.8 compared to expectations of 111. So that is indeed good news. But today, as far as this week is concerned, is the more important. We have the traditional jobless claims. We also have nominal, personal income and consumer spending. We have the core inflation monthly and year on year, real disposable income and real consumer spending, PCE inflation year over year, which is expected to be at around 5%, durable goods orders, core capital goods orders, new home sales all for November, and we have the UMich Consumer Sentiment Index. So it'll be interesting to see what that comes out at when we look at yesterday's Consumer Confidence Index, and we have 5-year inflation expectations. Now, we're not expecting major moves in the markets overall, but if anything is going to move markets, it's going to be today. Now, on the positive front, gold had quite a fillip yesterday, partly because of dollar weakness, and also because if we look traditionally, gold does tend to do well ending the year, moving into the new year. And we have gold at 1805, above that important $1,800 level. Silver markets are also up 21 cents at $22.85. Will it reach 23? Well, it's possible before the end of the year. But equally, it could fall back depending on what happens with the data today. Cryptocurrency markets actually fell slightly over the last 24 hours, even though equity markets have gone up. It's down 1% at 2.27 trillion, with Bitcoin falling back 1% at $48,000, roughly $500. Now, just a quick shout out. Day before yesterday, we published a video, 2021 year-end gold and silver price prediction, and of course our morning updates. We're conscious of the fact we're coming up to Christmas, so fewer people will listen to these because they have much more important things to do. But we do think it's worthwhile doing so, just so that you can prepare yourself for our prediction in the coming year, and also to keep abreast of the markets, even though, quite frankly, there aren't, in our opinion, going to be significant changes now. That's it for now. We will produce an update tomorrow. It's unlikely we'll produce one then, obviously, on Saturday, Christmas Day, because no markets will be open. So what we will do is produce our weekly update on Saturday as normal, and then over the Christmas period, because markets will be closed for a few days, it's likely that we will pick on certain subjects. So if you have a spare 10 minutes during the day, keep tuned in. Now, to make sure that you do that, please subscribe and press the bell sign. Thank you for listening. Until tomorrow. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.